For 80 years, the US dollar has ruled the world, but everything just changed as BRICS, the super alliance of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has revealed their latest plans to build a new gold standard, and it's going to change everything we know about global trade. Now, for many years, financial experts have speculated the BRICS alliance would create a new fiat currency to directly challenge the US dollar. But starting a new currency from scratch is a daunting task, and BRICS' new plan is going to be even more powerful than creating a new currency, because it's going to leverage the one thing BRICS has complete control over: the global supply of rare earth minerals. This past week, plans have been revealed for the creation of a dedicated BRICS precious metals exchange. This platform will allow countries to settle payments not just in gold, but also in rare earth minerals, which are assets so valuable that they're literally defining current global geopolitics. If you want to build anything from artillery shells to hypersonic missiles, or smartphones to electric vehicles, you need rare earth minerals. As a result, these minerals are perhaps the single most important commodity of the 21st century. But here's why the BRICS alliance has all the leverage. The BRICS organization controls an astounding 72% of the world's rare earth metal reserves, and if BRICS succeeds with this new plan, the entire global economy will never look the same again. This is a brilliant move from BRICS because it's a direct play that capitalizes on the West's dependence on rare earth minerals. For all the posturing and prestige of the G7 countries, the truth is, without the global South, they're nothing. The numbers simply speak for themselves. Less than 15% of the world's population lives in the West, while 85% of the world lives in the global South, or what many geopolitical analysts refer to as the global majority. It's about time that reality shows up on the global stage. In today's video, we're going to break down just how critical this move will be and why BRICS has the leverage to pull off something that truly will change how global trade is done. But first, I want to show you something that's completely transformed the way I work, and honestly made my life a lot easier. As a geopolitical YouTuber, I'm constantly reading articles, interviewing guests, and taking notes to stay organized. The truth is, it's overwhelming. But that's where PLAUD AI comes in. This is PLAUD Note, a sleek note-taking assistant that's changed how I work. With one press, it captures everything, hands-free, then uses advanced AI to create an instant summary. I recently watched an interview with Jeffrey Sachs on Trump's new Gaza deal. It was a long video full of details, but my PLAUD Note transcribed everything and produced a summary with key points, insights, and even chapters. If I have a question, I just click Ask PLAUD about this note and type, "What's the main message Sachs wants the world to know?" Instantly, PLAUD delivers the takeaway. The Trump-Netanyahu Gaza agreement is a deceptive deal to ensure Israeli control, not a real Palestinian state. This tool is powerful. I bring it to every meeting and conference I attend. You can use it in 112 languages, and it stores 30 hours of content with crystal clear audio, even in noisy environments, and a compact design that clips right to my phone. Data is securely stored on the device, synced with AWS cloud services, and protected by end-to-end encryption, complying with both US and EU privacy standards. That means your information won't be sold, and you never have to worry about battery or storage issues on your phone. If you're a student, professional, or just someone who hates taking notes, PLAUD AI will change how you work. Check it out with the link in the description or scan the QR code on screen and use my code CYRUS20 for 20% off. Thank you to PLAUD for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get back to our story about how BRICS is going to change global trade. Earlier last month, Russia hosted the 2025 Moscow Financial Forum, which is one of the key financial strategy events for the BRICS alliance. This year's game plan was to create their own benchmark for trading gold, platinum, diamonds, and rare earth minerals. Historically, the exchange of precious metals and gold has been dominated by institutions like the London Metal Exchange, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and SWIFT. Unsurprisingly, these platforms have long served the interest of the global North. For countries outside the West, these systems offer no inherent protection from sanctions, political attacks, or Western prioritization. The BRICS response to this has been simple but revolutionary. Build new neutral financial exchange mechanisms that are based on real tangible transactions and don't favor any single nation. After the war in Ukraine began, the global payment system SWIFT, based in Brussels, was weaponized against Russia. This move isolated Russia from the global markets, pushing them and many other countries to adopt China's KIPS system. KIPS allows banks around the world to clear and settle cross-border payments in renminbi instantly and directly. The creation of an independent pricing structure for precious metals is also a direct response to the weaponization of an already old and inefficient Western system. For decades, the London Bullion Market Association has set the price of gold, determined by a handful of non-transparent British banks. Shockingly, after the start of the Ukraine war, this system has entirely excluded Russia, one of the world's largest gold producers and sellers. Russia is the world's largest country and the fifth largest holder of gold. They absolutely should be included in this system, and without them, it undermines the credibility. In response, BRICS has taken the logical step of creating their own exchange, one based on actual market trading and transparent pricing mechanisms. This exchange, with the sheer volume of trade, will render the ability of Western powers to impose unilateral financial or commodity sanctions completely irrelevant. While gold will always hold value, the real game changer is the opportunity to trade rare earth minerals. Just take a look at this chart where BRICS flexes its full spectrum dominance. When it comes to the rare earth minerals, BRICS controls 72% of the world reserves and processes 75% of them. The bloc also holds 70% of global cobalt and 50% of nickel, which are critical for EV battery production. On top of that, BRICS dominates 91% of niobium, the key ingredient for hypersonic weapons, and 40% of the world's oil. They also control a third of global grain production and hold more than 12,500 tons of gold. With such an overwhelming grip on the world's critical resources, BRICS is the gatekeeper to the 21st century. Once they organize this dominance into the precious metals exchange, Western countries will be forced to play on an even field, one the rest of the world has long desired. Every move BRICS makes is a direct challenge to the legacy structures that have defined the global order for decades, and none of these shifts are as rapid and as devastating as the decline of the US dollar. 2025 has already become a historic year for the dollar's downfall, where the greenback has seen the worst decline since the United States abandoned the gold standard in 1973. Over just the past 6 months, the dollar has plummeted by more than 10% in comparison to other major world currencies. This is not just a result of the erratic US leadership under Donald Trump, but it is also directly related to BRICS' de-dollarization strategy. Today, an astonishing 68% of BRICS trade bypasses the US dollar, and nearly 90% of trade between Russia and China alone is done in their two respective currencies. Both investors and world treasuries are quickly ditching the dollar. Global dollar reserves have been on a steady decline, dropping to 58% by the second quarter of 2025, which is the lowest level since 2000. As countries abandon the dollar, they're flocking to tangible assets that will hold real value. Gold being the biggest reflection of this change, as the BRICS bloc now holds over 12,500 tons of gold, with China and Russia alone holding nearly 2,300 tons. Even the United States' most strategic financial asset, the petrodollar, is under threat as Saudi Arabia is now accepting the yuan for 12% of their oil trades. The dollar's dominance, which has long funneled global wealth into the pockets of Wall Street elites and fueled endless military conflict, is slowly dying a death of 1,000 cuts. And it's not just Russia leading the way into these talks. BRICS, as a bloc, is making major moves. China is also creating alternative markets, as the People's Bank of China and the Shanghai Gold Exchange now want to start holding foreign central banks' gold reserves. This is essentially a pitch to BRICS nations and the global south. Store your gold in China, not London or New York, and we'll protect you from Western sanctions. After the US froze Russia's $300 billion of foreign reserves in 2022, countries simply don't trust the West. Undoubtedly, this will be an appealing proposition for countries on bad terms with Washington. Gold's value is only set to rise, as it has just reached over $3,700 an ounce, with Goldman Sachs predicting it to climb to over $5,000. If China becomes the world's gold vault, then it will all be but official that the dollar is dethroned. This new precious metals movement is quickly gaining steam in Africa as well. With the most abundant natural resources, it should come as no surprise that African nations are rallying behind this initiative. For them, the exchange is a game changer, offering an escape from the political leverage the unipolar world order has used against them for decades. For instance, Angola's $80 million Longonjo project is set to supply 5% of global magnet metal demand, which is essential for electric vehicle and wind turbine production. Nigeria has made massive developments to process more rare earth metals domestically, investing in a $400 million processing plant, signaling the country's readiness to play a key role in the global supply chain. Nigeria is becoming an emerging power in the rare earth sector, with the nation's mining industry predicted to rise to 10% of GDP within the next 2 years. Unlike in the past, the new wealth generated by these projects can be channeled through emerging BRICS systems, rather than ones that heavily favor foreign firms. Africa has the unique opportunity to leapfrog Western legacy systems, as its economies are rapidly growing alongside the rise of BRICS' new financial markets. So how is the United States responding to being locked out of this entirely critical rare earth metal market? Well, historically, whenever U.S. hegemony has faced major threats, especially when it comes to securing critical resources, the U.S. has not hesitated to deploy its military might. The Iraq War in 2003 is a prime example, where securing access to Middle Eastern oil was one of the central motives behind the invasion. Even Iraqi precious metals and gold stores were seized by American soldiers. But now the stakes are even higher, as this exchange will challenge the United States' ability to even operate, as they can't even produce any of the materials needed to maintain its military. The very weapons that power the U.S. military, including advanced defense technologies like hypersonic missiles, are completely reliant on rare earth minerals. BRICS' control over these resources is making them increasingly difficult for the United States to access. One of the most critical minerals for the U.S. is niobium, essential for hypersonic missile components due to its ability to withstand extreme temperatures. The U.S. Geological Survey has identified niobium as the second most critical mineral for U.S. national security. For that reason, the resource is aptly named more valuable than oil. But once again, here's the opportunity. Brazil produces around 98% of the world's niobium, ensuring that the BRICS Association has a strategic advantage for the future. Brazil just happens to be a founding member of BRICS and has been heavily targeted by the Trump administration. So the chances that Brazil will trade these minerals with the United States and allow the U.S. military-industrial complex to operate are slim to none. Along with niobium, heavy magnets are a critical component in both electronics and military technologies, and the numbers show how staggeringly far behind the West is. The most glaring is in the processing and manufacturing of heat-resistant rare earth magnets, which are vital for mechanical engineering, aircraft engineering, and all modern electronics. China holds a near monopoly on the processing of rare earth metals, with its refineries producing over 99% of the 3 key rare earth elements needed for heat-resistant magnets. In terms of production, China manufactures at least 200,000 tons of rare earth magnets annually, while the combined production of the US and the EU is less than 10,000 tons. The main message I want you to understand from today's video is that the West is not just behind, it is literally entirely dependent on the BRICS nations for the supply of these crucial materials. BRICS is reshaping the game. By controlling resources like gold, oil, rare earth minerals, and other critical commodities, they're building a resource-backed financial system that will directly challenge the US dollar, which has long relied on debt and fiat currency. The dollar's greatest strength used to be trust, but that trust is quickly unraveling. And now, BRICS is stepping in, offering a new alternative rooted in hard assets, economic sovereignty, and the global leverage they hold over essential resources. In conclusion, the world is shifting away from the US dollar and towards a system backed by the actual things that power the modern world. The real question is, will the West adapt, or will they desperately cling to an outdated system of dollars and debt? The future of global trade and finance is being written, and BRICS is at the center of it all. Everyone, thank you for making it to this point of the video, and a huge thank you to PLAUD AI for this incredible piece of technology and sponsoring today's important message. Make sure you check out the links down below. Thank you all for your support, and I look forward to seeing you all in our next video soon.